All right, we're about to dive deep into one of the most famous and maybe one of the most misunderstood passages in all of ancient literature, Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to peel back the layers and get to the original context behind a story that, let's be honest, most of us think we already know.
This line, man, it's just so iconic, so powerful. For centuries, it's been the foundation for a very, very specific story.
You got it. That's the one. When we hear the name Lucifer, our minds just automatically jump to the story of a rebellious archangel, prideful and beautiful, who gets cast out of heaven. But is that really what Isaiah was talking about here?
Well, not even close, actually. The original text isn't about some supernatural angel at all. Isaiah is writing a song, a really biting, satirical taunt he calls a proverb, and it's aimed squarely at a human enemy, the incredibly powerful and arrogant king of Babylon. So let's walk through verses 9 to 14 together and see how this whole drama really unfolds.
So the story kicks off not up in heaven or even on earth, but down in the underworld, what they called Sheol. And as the king finally dies and makes his descent, well, it seems there's a pretty unique welcoming party waiting for him.
What I love about verse 9 is how the underworld itself is a character in this story. It's not just some static place, it's an active participant. It's described as being moved, like it's stirred into a frenzy, getting ready to throw a sarcastic welcome home party for its newest and most famous resident.
And check out this greeting committee. Sheol literally stirs up the spirits of the chief ones of the earth. Yep, the very same kings this monarch defeated and killed. In this amazing reversal of fortune, their ghosts are now rising from their shadowy thrones to greet their former oppressor. This is no honor guard, this is payback, and it's just getting started.
And then in verse 10, they hit him with a big taunt. You can almost hear the disbelief and the mockery in their voices. Wait, you? The guy who made the world tremble? You're weak now? Just like us? They just can't believe the great and mighty king has been brought down to their pathetic level. Verse 11 paints this absolutely gruesome picture of just how far he's fallen. All his pop, his royal luxury, the music that filled his courts, it's all gone. And what's left? Silence. His fancy bed of fine linens? It's now a bed of maggots. His warm silken blankets are now a tangled covering of worms. It's the ultimate degradation, a total wipeout of his status.
Okay, now let's get to the verse at the very heart of this whole thing. This is where that famous name shows up. But again, context is everything, because it's not a name, it's a nickname, it's a metaphor.
So here it is, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven? Now this is crucial. In this context, heaven doesn't mean the home of God and the angels, it means the heights of human and political power. And look at the imagery. He's not just fallen, he's cut down to the ground like a giant imposing tree. It signals a final, permanent end to his reign.
And this, right here, is the key that unlocks the whole thing. The word we translate as Lucifer comes from the Hebrew word Hillel, which means shining one or light bearer. You know what it was the name for? The planet Venus, the morning star. The king of Babylon in all his glory was like that dazzlingly bright star in the morning sky. So his fall from power was as shocking and dramatic as watching that star suddenly just fall out of the sky. It's poetry, a symbol, not a proper name for a person.
So why did he fall?
The song now shifts from describing what happened to the king to explaining why it happened. And the reason is a tale as old as time. Pure, unfiltered, blasphemous arrogance, which is summed up perfectly in 5 incredibly bold statements.
In verses 13 and 14, you can literally see him climbing a ladder of arrogance. Each "I will" is another step up in his own mind. First he says, "I will ascend into heaven," kind of like the Tower of Babel story. Then, "I will exalt my throne above the stars," basically saying he's better than all other kings. Then he claims he'll sit on the Mount of the Congregation, the mythical home of the gods, and then ascend above the clouds. It all builds to this final, fatal declaration. I will be like the Most High. And that's the pride that comes before the fall. That seals his fate.
So you have to be asking, if this was just a poem about a human king, how on earth did it become the defining story of the devil? Well, this is where we get to see the incredible power of a metaphor, and how it can take on a life of its own.
What's so fascinating is that this theme, this idea of a prideful fall from a great height, becomes a recurring pattern. You see it here in Isaiah 14 with Babylon's king. Then in Ezekiel 28, The arrogant king of Tyre is described in language that makes him sound like a cherub being cast out of Eden. These powerful metaphors for fallen human kings basically created a blueprint, an archetype. So later, when the writer of Revelation needed language to describe the fall of Satan, this pattern was already there, ready to be used for the story of a literal war in heaven. The story of arrogant men became the template for the legend of the devil.
And that really leaves us with something incredible to think about, doesn't it? It just goes to show you how language works, how stories grow and change over time, and how a poetic insult originally aimed at one man's pride could echo through the centuries to shape our entire understanding of good, evil, and what it truly means to fall from grace.